Says we're streaming.
We are streaming.
So we ready?
We are ready.
Okay. So welcome to the April 10th Public Safety Committee meeting. Ms. Kripe is traveling and cannot be here, so I'll be chairing this meeting, and do expect the mayor to attend if she can get here. Mr. Weary, just let me pop up the agenda because you have, let's see, OEM update, anything?
No update on OEM. I know they had asked about the local impact of the earthquake. We were able to get a message out pretty quickly, so I think that was good. I know the police department had worked with us on that, but from an OEM standpoint, there wasn't anything that required a coordinated response.
Chief, did you get many 911 calls to your knowledge?
No, not too many. We got a lot of questions about what was happening, but yeah, nothing, nothing serious for us to respond to.
Okay, I believe the mayor is trying to get in.
All right, let's see.
Okay.
Hi, sorry I'm late.
It's okay. So Patrick gave a very quick OEM report, and
That's
that
fine.
and you and I should talk tomorrow, Patrick, about the questionnaire for Emma.
Yes, I started it today, but I'm not going to get too far into it without your help. So
Okay.
yes, we'll speak tomorrow.
We'll hook up tomorrow. Okay. SCFD. During the month of February, there were 387 calls. Again, most of those were EMS. In fact, we're running about 120, between 125 and 130 EMS calls a month that we provide, and then there's another 35 or so that are partners. That would be the South Orange Rescue Squad, sometimes hospital, even union EMS, but most of that backup is the South Orange Rescue Squad. There were 8 fires in February. 4 of them were in South Orange, building fires in which we received mutual aid from a number of other jurisdictions. We responded to 2 fires one fire in Irvington, 1 building fire in Orange, and then we did a cover assignment in West Orange and a cover assignment in Irvington. Otherwise, everything is just moving along with the SCFD. All right, next up is Chief. Let me put the here's the UCR for the month. Oops. Okay. So go ahead. Turn it over to you, Chief.
All right, UCR for the month. As you can see, we go back to February. Back in February, we did have 1 robbery. It was a Panda Kitchen delivery. Dropped the food off, and the person robbed him for his money in the food. We do not have a suspect in that case. The case is continuing, but as you can see, for robberies year to date, we are with 1, and that hasn't changed, and 1 last year in 2023. So that's the robberies. We move down to the larceny and thefts. We have had 14 larceny thefts. We are still getting the vehicle rummagings. That's what we're seeing. Also, auto thefts. We had 5 auto thefts in February. The auto theft, we are at 10 year to date, and we were at 10 last year at this time. So we're around the same, even though we saw the big drop off from 2022 to 2023, we're pretty much staying the same with the auto thefts. So those are the crimes up to February. We have had last night we did have a burglary. It was a burglary into a home. Same type of burglary style where they take the vehicle, took a high-end vehicle, came in, went into the kitchen, got the keys, took the vehicle. We since have located that vehicle, so we're conducting an investigation of trying to get. We might have video, and we are checking for fingerprints and other evidence inside the vehicle. So hopefully that turns out to be something with that. But those type of burglaries we are seeing around us in the surrounding towns and throughout the state. So we do meet with our lieutenant detective. He meets with other agencies and they do exchange information. And with the video that we have or different video of a possible suspect, we will share it with other agencies to see if we are able to do identification or if they're seeing the same type of person committing the same crimes. So that's where we are with that burglary style vehicle theft. So that's one major incident we had. We did have yesterday. We did have a fight at the high school that we responded to. The call came in. It came in different, but it ended up what we were able to identify was that it was a fight. And it was from kids from another town coming in and fighting some of the kids at the school. So that's where you are with that. Trying to think of something else. But those are the two main incidents we're working on now. We did have the domestic on Maplewood Avenue, where a firearm was discharged. That person has been arrested and is being charged with aggravated assault, possession of a weapon for unlawful purpose. It was a domestic violence issue. What we are doing as a police department since that incident, we do have we are going to put out information about gun safety and how to secure your weapon. And we also have free gun locks for people if they need them. And if they come to register, if they come and they register to get a firearm, we will give them a gun lock. So, we're teaching the rules of, you need to, even though in this case, the gun was in a safe, it eventually ended up in a safe, but in that safe, you need to, make sure it's unloaded and lock it with this gun lock, which will prevent it from going off. So we will do some PSAs on that coming forward. Also, we'll do some more PSAs regarding locking your vehicles because we're seeing a lot of rummagings with the, in the cars that are out there, and it's usually unlocked. So that's where we're at.
So Chief, the gun being discharged was accidental?
I'm not going to go that far to say that
Okay.
yet, but
it potentially was.
Yeah,
So.
potentially could be, but we're still investigating that further.
Okay, and Patrick, I think during our, any newsletter release or SMS or even information on the website should include information like the chief just gave for gun locks and things like that, and the information about car rummaging and locking vehicles. It just makes sense to put that out to the public, not necessarily as a nixle, but as an SMS.
Yeah.
And in the weekly news blast and on our website. Yeah.
Yeah, when I see those come across from the PD Nixle, I'll pull them over to our weekly e-blast.
Yep. So that's what I got for February up until this date.
So, Chief, speaking of domestic violence, I happened to run into the one of our domestic violence volunteers on Sunday, and she's saying it's still pretty status quo about the number of volunteers we have. Can we do a little bit more of a push?
Well, we have about 6 that are going through the course now.
Okay, these are new people?
Yes, new people. So we're just waiting
Okay,
for.
okay.
we're just
I don't
waiting-
think she knew that. Okay,
Right. So it takes a while. I forget how many hours or you have to
Okay.
do, but we do have brand new people and they're going through the process.
okay, great. And something came up today. Someone found some graffiti in the park. And it was the N-word and some curse words. So just remind us, and maybe Patrick, you should remind the department heads, what's the procedure when they find graffiti, because they had DPW go over and paint it over or whatever, but
Yeah, that's okay. Just as long as they take a picture of it first.
okay.
Take a
And
picture
it
of it
should be
first.
reported to you.
Yes, report it to the police department. We'll take the picture and take it down immediately. But yeah, if we have the picture, that should be good enough.
Okay, now something like that, does that get reported as a bias incident?
Yes, so we will notify the prosecutor's office, also the state police.
So maybe just reinforcing that protocol with the department heads.
Yeah, we'll talk about it in our next department head meeting. And I know that protocol was followed this time, which is fortunate. But yeah, there's always an opportunity for a reminder, so we can do that at next Wednesday's department head meeting.
Yeah, and while I've got you here, Chief, there's graffiti. I'm not sure if it's a tag or if it's just somebody being silly on the utility box at the light on Valley Street by South Pearson.
Okay.
I mean, I know, and if you could just alert DPW to cover it over, because as we know, the faster you cover it over, the better to keep the spread. So I don't think it's anything violent. I just think it needs to be gotten rid of.
Right.
Chief, you want to go over the overtime?
Sure.
Let me just put that up.
Okay, so we have the overtime here. As you can see, the 911 watch commanders, dispatchers on the top, the total increase of in 2023, 2024, it's the difference of $102. And then you go down to the total hours of overtime, 911 dispatch overtime. You see a significant amount there for 6,000. That's due to that should come down because we have the watch commanders there. But also, I want to look into hiring some more part-time dispatchers to cover some of the holes that we have there. So we need a couple months ago we went to a job fair at Kane University. We did, even though we're not hiring for a police officer at this time, it's definitely good for us to come to these events because we did find 2 or 3 people that are interested in becoming a dispatcher. So we will go through the process there and hopefully get some good candidates for that. And so the rest is salary.
Okay. Any questions on overtime? Okay. Chief, do you have anything else for us at the moment?
No, those are the main things I had. I had the burglary, the domestic, and the school incident. So those were the main. Right.
We're gonna go into a quick closed session. So if you have anything more you need to share with us in close, you'll have time for that.
Okay.
If not, that's fine too.
No, I don't have anything.
Okay.
No.
Next up, so last meeting, we, in the discussion items, we talked about the electric scooters and electric bicycles. That was brought to the township committee. Township committee said, they're willing to consider it. So we will have our attorney start working on this. We were using the Caldwell ordinance as a model. We did receive a number of or a few emails from folks about the concerns around using that. So we're going to look at some other towns, maybe less restrictive than the Caldwell one is, and we'll certainly take into consideration some of the feedback we got. So there's really nothing more on this right now. Although I will say that, I saw an adult today, riding on the sidewalk with an electric
Exactly.
bike, and yesterday, someone riding down the center of, Springfield Avenue, so.
Yeah, and I would just like to say to that, Vic, the emails that we've gotten, I feel like maybe misunderstanding that we're not trying to limit or restrict bicycle and this kind electric scooters and stuff so much as to regulate them for safety, for, understanding that sidewalks are literally for walking, that's in the name, and figuring out where regulating where people could ride them safely. So it's all about safety. It's not about restrictions. So I just feel like that should be, emphasized to the public that we're hearing from.
Um, let's go. The next item on the agenda is the bike and circulation plan. So just and Chief, just so you know, the Township Committee through the Engineering and Public Works and Planning Committee, we've authorized the engineer to seek a proposal from our traffic consultant that would update rather the bike plan for town. So at some point, I know we're going to be talking to you and some of your officers about some suggestions that they might have around bike paths and things like that. But at this point, we do have a proposal. It's being looked at, and but we're waiting for the capital budget to be approved before we move forward. So we still have a little time. But there is something on the horizon that we are going to be looking at ways in which we can encourage more biking and being done in a safe manner. And that's what the consultant will be doing. So certainly your information on crashes and speeding and concerns about certain streets will be very valuable information for the consultant.
Okay, and just so you know, we added a couple more categories to our CAD system. So we're able to get better data for the e-bikes and the mopeds and everything else. So we're able to capture that information better.
Great. The next item is the code of conduct, and Patrick, just to be clear, we're bringing that to the Township Committee on Tuesday night for discussion.
That's right.
Okay. And I guess once it gets passed, we'll have to do a training with the police and maybe with some other department heads.
I don't think the police department, because anything that rises to the level where the police department would be involved, at that point is criminal or concern about it being criminal, and that would fall out generally outside of this code of conduct. And even if it, one of the things controlled in there is profanity. I mean, if profanity rises to the level of a disorderly person, let's say, that's a whole nother, that becomes a police issue. But yeah, department head training will need to be required, especially for rec and people who are doing activities involving youth. So, we'll schedule that after adoption of that ordinance.
So in general, Chief, it's around bias and harassment issues, treating each other with respect and dignity, when you're in sports events and things like that.
And it's youth focused. It's really mostly for kids and kids coaches.
That's right.
Yeah.
It doesn't affect Hurley, the coach of the UConn.
No,
Getting
'cause
into
he's
beefs
really
with the ball
good.
players.
Hey, he's not that other guy who threw chairs and stuff.
Bobby Knight, right? Bobby Knight. Okay. So those items, those are moving forward with, Township Committee and what have you. So, and some of the other committees. And let's see. Okay. So the next item is public comment, and I see we have a couple of attendees, and we have one member of the public, two members of the public, one of which is a member of our community board on police. And maybe we could ask, bring Sarah over and see if she has anything she'd like to share with us from the community board on police.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep, we can. Can't see you, but we can hear
Oh,
you.
good. There we
Now we
go.
can
There I
see you.
am. Hi,
Not
everybody.
putting you on the spot, mind you. I mean, we pulled you over without even like knowing if you really wanted to share anything. So if you want to just go back over, you can.
No, I'm glad to say hello and I don't really have any big updates to share. The board has some areas of focus for 2024. We're continuing the use of force reviews and focusing on some community engagement between the board and the department. It was fun to see you, Chief Sally, last week at our event. And then the third area of focus is restorative justice. So we're excited to get some new board members and get that off the ground. So, but good to see everyone tonight. And we're also adding an agenda item on the Board of Police meetings so that whoever attends these meetings brings information back
Good idea.
to the group. So,
Good idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
and if
But-
it's helpful, can you, Pat, is it helpful to have the list of who's coming each month to send links? Or do you guys, is it fine for us to just join this public link and port over whatever's easiest?
Yeah, the only thing I would ask is when you come over, just raise your hand so that I know to move you into
Oh,
this
okay.
portion. That's the easiest way to deal with it.
Okay, cool.
And we did, I'm sure you met our new person that we appointed.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
And she had
Yeah.
a particular interest in some of the restorative justice stuff, so.
Yes. And she was appointed the night before our event last
Yeah.
week. So we all got to meet her. That was great.
Great.
Mhm.
Okay,
Thanks.
all right, sounds good.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're at the point where anyone who would like to speak, and we have Julia Flath, if you want to move her over, Patrick.
All right. Welcome, Julia.
Hi, so I have a few topics. Am I limited to 3 minutes or I just want to know before I start?
How many minutes you need?
I don't know. Maybe like 5-ish.
Okay, you can have 5.
Okay. So first I want to share that Clinton School is looking at our neighborhood parking rules and how to better communicate them with the school community. So the school administration may be reaching out at some point, in the coming weeks with questions for the police to review. Second, I want to make sure we're all aware of the importance in urging the Board of Education to approve the requested easement for the Greenway at their April 25th meeting before the redevelopment agreement expires. We need to take advantage of the developer funding now because as we've seen in South Orange, using state and federal funding takes way too long for this. So, anyone who's able to reach out to the Board of Education and express their support for this will help that. And it will, provide help with making the connection of the full Greenway, providing safe off-street access to school for walking and biking to school. Then regarding the e-bike ordinance, so in my email last month, I proposed a recommendation to consider an alternative ordinance prohibiting all bicycles from sidewalks for everyone over age 10. So I just wanted to share some feedback that I got with, you can, do with it what you will, just for your consideration, that many residents would not support a prohibition on sidewalk riding in general until the streets are safer for bicycling. For example, some feel that, over age 10, maybe 12-year-olds or teens still aren't necessarily mature enough to ride on the street instead of the sidewalk. Some adults are riding with young children on the back down busy streets like Valley and feel safer on the sidewalk. So there's reasons why people go on the sidewalks, and the people with kids on the back are more likely to have e-bikes to help them. It's easier to travel with kids on the back on e-bikes than regular bicycles. And then I have a few questions for the chief. So, wondering what reports or complaints have been recorded against e-bikes and scooters, what kind of risks you're concerned about, and how you think having an ordinance would help address those risks. And then would time spent on an ordinance and police details targeting e-bikes take away from time spent enforcing traffic laws for cars? How would the police know whether they're stopping a regular bike or an e-bike since they look so similar? And how would an e-bike ordinance support Maplewood's equity-related and police and community relations goals, considering that research shows bicycling enforcement disproportionately affects people of color? So I think that's everything. I
Yeah,
have
you
to
put
say.
those in your email. Those questions were in
Yeah, yeah, but I wasn't sure if the chief saw that.
we can get him a copy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And also-
all those things will be discussed when we're implementing this or talking about implementing this. As I wrote back to you and others that, this is just the beginning of a conversation. And I can tell you one thing about this is it's always about balance. You got to balance interests. So you have, we're talking about, as much as we're talking about being a bike community, we're talking about being a pedestrian friendly community. So with 4 foot or 3.5 foot wide sidewalks, it's pretty hard to do that. So, we have to figure that out and figure the balance of how you move cars and how you move people on bikes and on foot. And, that's what we're talking about. So we have your comments and questions, and we'll make sure the chief gives us some input. You heard him last meeting where he generally says he thought it would be a good tool, and now we want to make it a tool that can be used and can be done equitably.
Yeah, and I have I'm reviewing it now. I have actually it's like a training on the difference between an e-bike, a scooter, or a moped, and the ordinances and what can be issued and everything else in between. So I'm going through it now, and it'll be something that will educate all the officers with.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I mean, you've said you think it would help, and I think, thinking about how exactly it would help is key to figuring out what should go in the ordinance and how the police can best enforce it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? I don't think so. Okay. All right. Does anyone have anything else for public?
Yeah, I have one more thing I forgot. May 1st, we have our award ceremony
Oh, yes.
for the Maplewood Police Department here at Maplewood headquarters, 1618 Springfield Avenue, the court building. It will be at 6:30, and we will have light refreshments, and we will be giving out awards.
Is it 6:30? I thought the invitation said 6. Is it 6:30?
I'm sorry, 6.
Okay.
I think it's something else. 6 o'clock. Yeah. 6 o'clock, headquarters, be there and see our officers get rewarded for all the great things they have done, saving lives and everything else. IDA and burning buildings and everything in between. So it's a great event, and we are happy to honor our officers for all their great things they do. We do every year, we do submit officers for the Valor Award for the 200 Club. However, that's like the county. So sometimes our officers do not get it, but sometimes we do. But we will have our own Valor for some of the jobs we had, because we think it was that important in putting their lives on the line to save somebody else. That's pretty much what the Valor is. So I look forward to it.
Great. Chief, I did have one question. I know Officer LaRue retired. What is our current situation with vacancies?
We have 62 on the street now. 2 just graduated the academy, and we have 1 in academy now. He graduates in June. That's the replacement for Officer LaRue. So it'll be full 63.
Okay, so we'll be in good shape. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Anything else? If not, I'll move we go into closed. Nancy seconded. All in favor? Yes, okay. Thank you, everyone. We're gonna stick around. Patrick, can you cut off the
Yes.
YouTube and
Yeah, I'm gonna cut off YouTube and